At right tackle, number 72, Mike Ryan Holm. At right end, number 84, Tom Lee.
It's Thursday, October 9th, and I'm Joe Corsilia along with Chuck Giron, bringing you live Coapa League action. The Scappoose Indians versus the St. Helens Lions in what proves to be a critical game in the Coapa League. Both teams coming into the play tonight with a 2-1 record behind Clascanai and Astoria. And the winner of this game still stands a chance to climb back into the league standing and go into the playoffs. The loser may well have a tough time fighting its way back up the ladder. Now we're on the bucket cam, giving you a view from the end zone. A new feature for the CCTV broadcast coverage this week. Now our national anthem. And Chuck, we're back to the action of the game. What is your prognosis for tonight's game?
Tell you what, Joe, it's an awful muddy field. It definitely is going to take away a lot of the pass. I think that might help St. Helens in the fact that our game's based upon the run. Definitely going to hurt Scappoose probably a little bit with Clayton Gary going long. They might bring him out of the backfield some more. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Scappoose is aided in one way and held back in another. Like you say, Clayton Gary, with all-state speed at wide receiver, is going to be somewhat slowed by a muddy field. But on the other end of the spectrum, Morrill, probably one of the biggest, toughest runners in the Coapa League. St. Helens is going to have a little trouble with him up the middle. I look to see possibly St. Helens counter that by running Josh Goff off tackle, possibly holding down their pass plays tonight. We could see a lot of action between the 30-yard lines.
Well, I'd have to agree, Joe. And I think St. Helens' best defense may be keeping our offense on the field. Usually in the early part of the season, you'd call it 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Tonight, it may be 3 yards in a splash.
Yeah, field conditions, I guess they're great for a Civil War game like this because this is very meaningful for both teams. As you know, any field condition, it'd be a battle out here. But tonight, boys are really going to root in and go for it. It'd be interesting to see what the outcome is because I think it will have a definite impact on league standing.
Yeah, I would have to agree, Joe. I can't state how important this game is for both teams, actually. 2-1. Very important game taken way down the place at Clascanai with Tillamook up there tonight. So that'll also play heavily into the fact of the Coapa League. But I've got to say, Joe, I think the game we're watching tonight is a very, very tough ball game for both teams.
Well, both these teams will face Clascanai in the end of the season, both here and at Scappoose. And Clascanai is going to have a little tougher time in the second half of their season. So there's a good chance one of these two teams could climb back to the top. One of the things that has been occurring in the last few games for St. Helens is they have been putting the ball on the ground more than they should. Last week against Seaside, they were very lucky to recover several of those, I think 4 out of 5 fumbles. Tonight, they can't afford to do that against the Indians.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. Early in the year, you don't mind putting the ball up a little bit because of the field conditions, but I think towards the end of the year, you want to definitely establish the running game as you see number 20 for the Lions being taken down at about the 25-yard line.
Ronnie White on the return for the Lions. and they're starting out in the mud, as you can see on your screen. The Indians in the white jerseys, currently white jerseys, to the left, and the Lions in their familiar lemon and black to the right. Ball placed looks like squarely on the 15-yard line. Cox hands off up the middle to Evelyn on the carry. Second and 6 for the Lions. Keeper by Cox, picks up about 2.5 yards on the carry. That'll bring up the Lions' first third down of the evening. Third down, probably a big point in tonight's game. Who can get the most third down conversions? Last week, the Lions holding Seaside to no first downs. They couldn't convert any third down in 11 possessions in the game. An amazing defensive stand by the Lions, and that included a lot of reserves. And the ball's on the ground. Goff on it. Scappoose recovers right about the 29-yard line of St. Helens. And we were just speaking about the turnovers, Chuck.
Yeah, we were, as you see Gary Johnson for Scappoose Lions covering up that fumble. Fumbles are going to be very important tonight, Joe. The field condition the way it is. Unfortunately, as you know, if you've been following the Lions this year, we've had a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they practiced all week, but Coach Bingham's not going to be happy with that first turnover. Mike Wayne bringing the Indians up to the line of scrimmage. Morrill takes the handoff off the right side. He's down for a short gain. Morrill probably one of the biggest, most physical running backs in the Coapa League.
Reminds me a lot of John Riggins, Joe, and the fact that he doesn't believe in an east and west on the football field, just the north and south.
Well, the Indians so far this season have taken full advantage of using him to set up for passing plays to Clayton Gary, although it's going to be a little more difficult tonight. Keeper by Wayne up the middle. Very little gain on the play. That's going to bring up a third down for the Indians. Ryan Holm on the tackle for the Lions. Well, Chuck, the Indians are down in 4-down territory now. And with Morrill, 5 yards on 2 carries is not too much to ask.
No, I think Salem's defense is sticking up pretty good right now, Joe. They seem to be getting off the line of scrimmage real hard, which is good. We need that right now.
Wayne to the far side, pitch to Morrill around the end. Looks like he's good for the first down. Cox on the stop for the Lions. First down, Indians keeping the drive alive. Well, pretty good hands there on the part of Scappoose. Being able to keep a pitch like that without losing that. It's kind of a risky play down in the red zone. Wayne brings the Indians up under center. Hesitates up the middle on a draw. Got some running room, and it looks like he's being brought down for a gain of about 5 or 6 on the play. That'll bring up a second and third. Holm on the stop for St. Helens.
I think I'd look for Mr. Morrell up the middle here, Joe. What do you think?
Well, they can pretty much power it in from here. It's 4-down territory, Chuck, and second and 4, second and 5 here. Morrill up the middle for about 2.5. More on the stop for the Lions.
Well, Alex Long was on the back of that gang tackle, Joe, but who knows how far he got drugged before he got up.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who they might have used for a dummy player to imitate Morrill this week, and I don't think they've got anybody quite that large.
Yeah, the Ag Shop has a Kubota tractor I think they were using.
There we go. Okay, Wayne brings them up, 3rd and about 1.5. Ball on the 6. Gary in the slot, handoff to Morrill up the middle for about 1. May not have made the first down.
He may not have, Joe. It was real close. He got a little bit of forward ground, but he got turned over real fast.
Well, they're going to give him the 1st and goal on that, Chuck. I don't know if from here it looked like we were going to see the chains, but.
Well, if I'm Wes, I would have asked for the change, if nothing else, to stop the play a little bit and give the Lions a chance to get a breath and get their composure back.
Yeah, that fumble certainly turned the momentum toward the Indians, and they've taken full advantage of it at this point. They have had some trouble in the past poking it into the end zone, but don't seem to be having trouble tonight. Morrill for a couple of yards, drawing ever closer to the goal line. Well, sadly enough, this is going on the wrong end of the field for our boom cam, and hopefully we can bring you a long-range view from up there, but I'd like to see a touchdown underneath the boom cam so we can bring you some of that kind of action.
I see a quick pass to Mr. Gary here. What do you think, Joe?
Keeper, Wayne on the keeper off the left side. Real looking for an indication here.
Bring up 3rd down.
Boy, it's got to be just inches, Joe.
3rd and a hair out there. And if the Lions ever wanted to toughen up their defense, this would be the time. Any guesses?
Well, with Wayne talking to Morrill, I would say it's going to go to him.
Handoff to Morrill up the middle for the touchdown, it looks like. Touchdown Scappoose puts them on the board 6-0 with 5 minutes and 58 seconds left in the first quarter. We'd like to thank some of the
Well, Joe, do you think Scappoose goes for 2 here? They've had a problem in the Astoria game with converting extra points. What do you think?
A little too risky at this point, but it looks like they're going to line up that way. They've got the man to do it in the backfield. Pitch back to Gary around the close side. Stopped. It is no good. I got to wonder about that play, Chuck, with Morrill in the backfield and giving up a 1.5 yards, 2 yards each time. Well, we're going to take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors who helped bring you tonight's game. Ace Hardware, St. Helens Federal Credit Union, Eaton's Tire and Used Car Center as well. Well, Chuck, a quick start for the Scappoose Indians. No trouble putting it in the red zone. That's a sign of what's yet to come tonight, and they seem to be able to keep a handle on the football, whereas St. Helens is right up to what they were doing the last few weeks and putting that ball on the ground and didn't take any time to do so, and quite a bit of time wound off the clock. We've got 5:58 left in the first quarter, and it seems like we've only been playing for 3 minutes.
Well, I'd have to agree, Joe, and if you keep in mind last week's games, the St. Helens Lions had a big physical Seaside Seagull team to push around the field. Scappoose had a relatively easy game with Rainier, so maybe the kids are a little bit physically tired at this point, but that's no excuse. Definitely Scappoose rang the bell first, and let's see if we can answer the bell.
Well, Scappoose to kick off. Deep for St. Helens, we got Goff and White. Short kick to the side, out of bounds. We're going to bring it back. That'll bring up a 1st and 10 on the 35.
Going back to what I was talking to a minute ago, Joe, Coach Eads was quoted this week as saying the Indians have one of their best weeks of practice in what he calls years. So definitely Indians look like they might be gelling at this point in the season, Joe.
Well, they got a good chance to rest their skill positions last week, and anytime it's a game between St. Helens and Scappoose, you know that's enough to fire up the boys, even if it's for a short week of practice. St. Helens almost in the wedge. Up the middle. There goes Goff. He's off to the races. Heading for the end zone. I hope we got the bucket cam on that baby. Goodbye, Goff. Touchdown, St. Helens. And in no time, this puppy is tied up.
Open the door, Wilma. Here we come.
And that's the good old familiar Josh Goff run. Opening right wide open in the middle, and don't think Wes isn't going to bring that back into play again. If it works out well, we haven't seen the end of Goff up the middle.
Well, I guarantee you, Joe, both teams have probably spent the better part of 2 or 3 days behind the projector checking out each team, to, the other one, to see what weaknesses they had, and evidently Wes has found something.
Yeah, and Goff didn't hesitate out there. It was almost scary watching him run through the mud, but had good footing all the way. PAT. Long count. Drew him off sides. That was the plan. We're going to get halfway in and then go for the 2-point possibly. That sure looked planned to me, didn't it, Chuck?
Yeah, I would have to agree, Joe. They sure looked like they were trying to pull Scappoose, and evidently they fed right into it, because as you've seen from maybe the bucket cam or the cam up here, is that the defensive end for Scappoose obliged us and jumped right off.
Yeah, they couldn't stand it. It was just a little bit too long. I thought for a second they were going to get called for too much time, but managed to pull them off sides. Gives them a little bit of advantage going for the 2-point conversion now. Goff and Evelyn lined up in the backfield. Handoff, nope, keeper. He's in. Looks like Cox off the right side on a keeper from here. I hope we got a good shot, possibly from our bucket cam in the end zone.
That was a good fake to Evelyn, Joe. I almost thought he had the ball myself, and then Jeremy tucked that thing in and went to the right side, and I didn't think he got in, but evidently, hopefully the bucket cam showed us that he did.
And that was excellent coaching by Wes Bingham. Scappoose gambling on their 2-point conversion, and that cost them the lead in this game. It's 8-6 St. Helens with 5 minutes and 48 seconds, and that was a quick 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. You're seeing two thoroughbreds in action here. I think you're going to see starters for 4 quarters, and before it's over, I don't think we're going to be able to read any of the numbers.
Well, Scappoose now, after seeing Goff tear down the field, they're going to have to revise their defense, and they're not going to feel safe until this game's over, because if he breaks it like that up the middle, he can break it at any time on a punt return, and hasn't even gone off tackle yet, which is his normal route to the end zone.
Definitely Scappoose trying to get his upbacks farther up, so Clayton Gary will be the only one receiving the ball. Maybe St. Helens can see that and squib kick it off to one of the sides. What do you think, Joe?
Well, they've tried everything else so far in this short game. I think it's going to be a game of tricks because they knew they'd be in the mud tonight, so maybe Wes has got a few up his sleeve. There's the kick. It's low, driving downfield, being mishandled by an Indian. Almost dropped the ball, being brought, breaks it. He's got some yardage. See a number on that? Is that Morrill?
Yeah, I believe that is David Morrill. He was in the backfield fumbling the ball. It looked a little lost, like he might be trying to give it back to Gary to run the ball back, but brought down by a host of Lions with Jason Thorson involved in that.
Well, it shows you just how tough he is. He broke about 3 tackles on his way out to the 35-yard line. And looked as though if he broke 1 or 2 more, he'd have been on his way. I'm not sure how fast he runs in the open field, but it would be pretty hard to bring him down almost anywhere on this field by yourself.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. You're going to need friends tonight in the mud.
Okay, Wayne brings the Indians up under center. Morrill in the slot, single setback. Slips up in the mud, still gets about a yard and a half on the carry on the keeper. There's a little confusion on that one. I'm not sure that's what that was designed to do.
Brought down by half of the homeboys.
Well, they're hard to tell apart when they're out of uniform, and even harder to tell apart when they're in uniform. The bookend tackles. I know I can see proud Papa Tom sitting in the stands down below us here. Couple yard gain. It's second and about 7 or 8. There's a pass out to the near side to Gary. Being held up by
Stevie Dubois.
Dubois on the stop.
That's a good stick by Stevie Dubois. He stays with the guy, doesn't let him juke him out of his shorts. Makes a good, solid tackle.
Yeah, he grabbed him by the ribs there and let him get nowhere. And that's good to see because Gary's going to be a threat all night long. They can't let him get the ball and then get any kind of open field in front of him. He's shown us what he can do there. Although I don't think we'll see quite the acrobatic catches we were looking forward to tonight.
No, I'd have to agree. The conditions of fields are going to take that away. But if the kids keep an eye on the hips, not the arms, they'll be in good shape.
That'll bring up a third and about 5.5 or 6 yards on the play. Wayne drops back to the right side of the field. Passes. He's got a man open, but I don't think it's caught. Nope, they're going to. That'll bring up a 4th down, Chuck, and I believe that's first 4th down for the Indians.
Tell you what, Joe, I just seen something real scary, and that was Mike Henshaw wide open by himself down there. He could have mailed a letter to himself and got it before anybody else did. And maybe West will see that, hopefully, and keep somebody back there because that might be a scary combination.
Well, you know they got to be keying on Gary on this, and they've been practicing all week, and that will leave someone open. Got 8 men and 9 men up in the box, 2 men deep for St. Helens. White, Goff ready to return. Goff would love to get his hands on this one. They kick it away from Goff over to White's side of the field. It looks like it might bounce out of bounds. It does. About the 33, 32-yard line. That'll bring up the Lions 1st and 10.
Well, with the field the way it is, I just hate to see us try to pick the ball up and advance it. That was one of the good things that could happen to St. Helens with that for to go out of bounds at 32.
We've got 3 minutes and 59 seconds left in the first quarter with St. Helens leading 8-6 and in possession of the ball.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see St. Helens drive towards our bucket cam, Joe.
I'd like to see some action down there. We went to a lot of trouble to get that set up for tonight. It's one of the new wrinkles we're putting in the game for tonight's game, being it's such a special Civil War game. And up the middle to Goff. Very little gain on the carry, about 1, maybe 2 yards.
It was a good fake because Jeremy Cox kept the football on that one, Joe, and I thought Goff had it too, but evidently one of the linemen for Scappoose, number 75, Nick Welch, actually, read that good. He read it a lot better than you and I did from up here.
I sure thought I saw that football tucked in.
It just goes to show how well that Jeremy's getting at tucking that ball in and not letting it be exposed.
Cox under center, 2nd and 9. Pitch back to Goff off the right side. Got some yardage. He's out about 5 yards on the play to the 40-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd and about 4 or 5 on the play.
It's a good call here, Joe. It's a real important call. It's 3rd and about 4, in the St. Helens territory. What do you call? I mean,
well, last 2 or 3 weeks, what we've been seeing on this is Cox on a spin keeper. And I'm not sure how good a footing he can have out there. We're going to try to bring you this one from our bucket cam.
Well, I'd say stretch the field, but I see Gary on this side of the field for Scappoose. That may not be a good option.
There's Cox on the keeper, up the middle for the 1st down for the Lions.
Here's he's real close. If he hasn't got it, Joe, he might have it. I see the pile moved far enough to possibly, yeah, I'd say it's a 1st down by seeing it from here, Joe.
Yeah, finally hit one. Well, when you go up the middle, Chuck, you're not really fooling anybody. It's just a matter of blocking and tackling at that point. And the Lions are doing a good job. They're outsized by the Indians, but if you could have seen them last week against the Gulls, they took some guys that were upwards of 300 pounds and put them in the dirt. So that's a tough line out there. Cox up to the line of scrimmage. Going back to pass. He's got a man open. Oh, dropped the ball.
Right through Tom Lean's hands as he just turned around and didn't see the ball come through his hands, and it just dropped.
Yeah, Cox a little bit quick on the pass. I can't put that all on Lean. He just barely got his eyes turned toward the ball and saw it in his hands. On this field, though, you don't want to give it too long to develop, or you can see that one going all the way the other direction. Second and 10, back for another pass. Getting away, eluded one tackler. He's got a long pass going downfield. It's caught! What a catch!
What a catch by Mark Johnson over the top of Clayton Gary, Joe. What do you think about that?
That was concentration, nothing but. And I tell you what, he had his eyes on the ball from the minute it left Cox's hands. Didn't let Gary bother him, heard footsteps, and still pulled that thing down. With a little more jump on him, he'd have been in the end zone, and that brings the Lions down to the 15-yard line, 1st and 10, and they are knocking with 1:41 left in this game.
Well, I think Joe, if Gary doesn't turn around trying to big play it and get the interception, I think he would knock that ball away.
I was surprised he didn't go up in the air. Hand off up the middle, see if we can get a ball carrier. Evelyn on the carry. Well, Mark Johnson pulled one down last week, put one in the end zone, and off to a good start this week for the Lions. Up the middle to Goff. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, St. Helens.
Boy, that's great effort from Josh Goff in that play, Joe. He was down for the tackle, slips out, and manages to score another 6 points for St. Helens. Hopefully we get a good shot from the bucket camp.
Well, you know what? For a minute, Chuck, I forgot how slippery Josh Goff is. And we saw it all last year, mud, snow, rain, sleet. We had it all in Civic Stadium. And he's a very elusive runner. People can't get their hands on him, and you saw it right there. He just appears out of a crowd.
And he's only a junior.
We're going to bring you the bucket cam shot on the kick. It's up. It's good. And that brings the score. St. Helens 15, Scappoose 6 with 52 seconds left in the quarter. And we want to thank the remainder of our sponsors, Sunshine Pizza, Scappoose Business and Tax Service with 2 locations, St. Helens and Scappoose. Forsyth's Columbia City Sports and Recreation Club. Got a number of sponsors, so we'll bring some more to you later in the game. I want to thank those folks for helping you bring this Civil War action. Well, Chuck, did you get a chance to take a breath?
No, I still haven't caught my breath, Joe. I guess I was a little shook when Scappoose drove down as easily as they did in the first set of series. I was a little worried that we might not be up to the game, you know, as far as the intensity. But I'll tell you what, you see a capital I intensity out there.
Well, you know these boys want each other bad. It's always been that way, probably always will be. There's the kickoff. Picked off. Oh. Loose footing out there. Aaron Stoddard on the reception for the Indians, bringing it out across the 30. If he hadn't slipped up, he'd probably got another 10 yards out of that return. He looked pretty intent out there. He wanted it.
Yeah, he did, Joe. He was waving off the Clayton Gary, telling him he'd go ahead and take it. And he had a good lane over there when he first caught the ball. But after he caught the ball, the Lions closed over real fast and kept that from going farther than it did.
Yeah, it's awful hard to get a quick recovery out there in that mud. And he did have a step or two on him, but we may see a little more of that tonight. Got 48 seconds left in the first quarter. Timeout, St. Helens. Well, that 2-point conversion looks awful good right now, Chuck.
Yeah, that may be our savior later tonight, Joe. That might be come back to save our Heine in. But I don't know what Wes is thinking with the timeout here with 48 seconds. All we're going to do is swap ends of the field, as you see from the bucket cam. A good shot of the Scappoose players and St. Helens players, but Wes may be thinking a couple stunts here. Joe, what do you think?
Well, I've seen a little bit of everything, and that's very unusual for Wes Bingham. Tonight he's pulled a couple of tricks out of the hat. I don't think we're done yet. He wouldn't use them all in the first quarter. And when you got a muddy field like this, you've got to come up with something because you can't use your normal game plan. Scappoose is in the same boat. Keith Eads is obviously a better coach than what we've seen so far in the play calling. He'll come up with his own. Wayne under center. Handoff Morrill up the middle. Stop for no gain on the play.
Fumble.
Well, it got everybody excited here. The crowd went, you could hear a pin drop for a second there.
Corey Manning was on the recovery for the Scappoose Indians as there was a fumble, and Scappoose recovered that.
Well, that may be what determines this game tonight, is who recovers how many of their own and who recovers how many of the other guys. I know it was scary just watching St. Helens put the ball on the ground 5 or 6 times last week, and it was a big win for them, but you got to get over those habits. Morrill around the inside, being tripped up by Goff on the stop for St. Helens. And there's the end of the first quarter. Our score, St. Helens 15, Scappoose 6. We'd like to thank some more sponsors. Columbia Funeral Home Incorporated. Cozy Corner Restaurant. And Larry's BP Station, located at 52413 Columbia River Highway. Well, Chuck, this has been a thriller so far, and we've only got 1 quarter out of the way.
But you know, Joe, it doesn't matter what's on the line, whether the league's already been decided and one team hasn't won a game all year, or the other team's undefeated. These two teams seem to bring together some sort of magic, you know, almost like the Redskins-Cowboys game, you know, where it doesn't matter what's on the line, you're going to see two thoroughbreds, you know, duke it out for 4 quarters.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the season, I thought both these teams belonged in the top 10 in the state. St. Helens and Scappoose both, unfortunately, suffered a loss early on, and they can redeem themselves as the season goes on. Maybe it's better to drop out of the polls. I know when you get that kind of attention from the Oregonian, it has an effect on the way you play the game, and maybe that's what they needed to get their head back in it. They played like champions in St. Helens last week, and Scappoose is putting together their own too. Gary to the near side, he's got a reception, good for the first down for the Indians. Ball being spotted very near the 45-yard line.
Another good, strong tackle from St. Helens, Joe. I mean, he stuck right with him and didn't give him a chance to juke him out or slip away.
Well, I think that's the first time Scappoose has come out in a passing formation on the first down, particularly starting out a possession. So they might have got St. Helens a little bit off guard on that. They were a little cold coming out of the huddle. Wayne under center, single setback. Man in motion. The far side pitch. Gary got the pitch and being brought down for a lot. No, he escapes. He's got a wall. He's got some running room. He could be off to the races. And boy, turning nothing into something for the Scappoose Indians. Clayton Gary is in the end zone. No flags on the play.
2 St. Helens Lions had him down at around the 35-yard line. Somehow, Clayton Gary, I mean, Mr. Magic, turns it around to 6 points, Joe.
And where he pivoted over there, Chuck, was right in the middle of one of the biggest mud piles on the field. I don't know how he came out of that, but he is pretty fleet-footed. We were expecting that on a pass play tonight, but not on a pitchback. Hope we brought you some good action down from the bucket truck buried in the end zone. Scappoose lining up for a 2-point conversion, a big one for them right now. Wayne drops back to pass, looks in the corner, blocked, and we've got a St. Helens player intercepted the ball. He's off to the races, and I think they're calling it back. I guess you can't do that, Chuck. I sure wanted to see it happen, but Let's talk that one over. I got to wait and see what they call on this. We've got an NFL official down at the other end of the sports booth from us. I want to hear this one.
I don't know what the rule is in high school football, Joe. I don't know if it's got something to do with the touch or what, but it seems to me like he intercepted the ball and clearly could have run it back for 6 points.
That leaves the score St. Helens 15, Scappoose 12.
Well, evidently on the change of possession, the ball is dead. We got to question that, but I guess that's not our job.
Well, either way, it comes up real important for the Lions, and it's going to maybe possibly hurt the Lions or the Indians down the way, Joe, as the score remains 15 for St. Helens, 12 for Scappoose.
Well, that 2-point conversion looms even bigger as this game goes on. Well, it looks like Scappoose is going to get a chance to kick off here. That helps. Things opened up for us here. We got a little bit clearer view now. And the kickoff from Scappoose, fairly high going to Eveland. He kind of hesitates, waits for a wall to set up, heads for the far side. Being brought down by the Indians at about the 34-yard line. Maybe not that far out. It's hard to see from here where that's being spotted.
Well, I think he might have been waiting for some help, Joe, but the only help coming was white shirts.
There's our bucket cam shot again. I like that. Well, that's going to set St. Helens up 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line. We see what kind of tricks they pull out now. We've seen a little bit of everything, and we're 11:02 left in the second quarter. St. Helens with the ball. Pitch back to Goff. Goff's got some room. Scappoose really staying at home on that one, Chuck.
Well, I'll tell you what, Clayton Gary closed fast. I mean, St. Helens may need to bring somebody out as like a pulling guard or something to trap Clayton from getting over to Josh. If he does, we stand a pretty good chance of getting a lot more yardage out of that play.
Yeah, I thought he was off to the races there for a second. We've seen Goff turn that corner before, and no one in not just the league, but the state can't catch him. And if there is anybody, it's probably Clayton Gary. Saw him move across on that reverse. It wasn't supposed to be a reverse. That'll bring up a 2nd and about 6 for St. Helens. Handoff up the middle of Goff. He's got running room. He's off to the races, and there's Gary after him. He's going, he's going. Oh, being brought down at about the 10-yard line, and my, oh my.
Mike Henshaw, who used to play for St. Helens last year, closed in and brought him down, Joe.
Well, they exchanged Henshaw for Brock this year. Brock coming over from Scappoose. Henshaw goes to St. Helens.
And some future draft picks?
That might be. Maybe there's a tampering charge here someplace. My, oh my. We've seen it all, and it's not over with yet. 10:04 left on the clock in the second quarter. The Lions are once again knocking on the door, and Josh Goff racking up some yards. Cox under center. Pitch back. Goff's got the ball looking for some running room. Upended at about 9-yard line.
It looks like he tripped over almost Kyle Murray for the Lions, but I think Josh was just giving the stutter step, waiting for a hold, Joe.
Okay to change Rivera.
Yeah, he didn't pick up maybe a half yard on that play, so we're going to spot the ball at about the 12. Brings up a 2nd and 10. St. Helens with an opportunity to record a first down close to the goal line if they can get it there.
That might be ultra important, Joe. If we can just slam the ball forward and we can get a first down without having to score.
There's our shot from the bucket cam again. Well, it was a good fake because I didn't see where that one went. Eveland up the center of the line, I guess.
They may be setting up that third down play, Joe, with the spin keeper for Cox. It looked like it might have been open in that play.
Yeah, that was highly effective the last couple of weeks. Cox got some good yardage off that. Brings up a 3rd and 7, and probably for St. Helens, one of the biggest plays of the game. on the ground. Ball still loose. Goff covered the ball for the Lions.
Well, I think we probably bring Dallas back on here and the field goal, Joe, but I'll tell you what, as explosive as Scappoose can be, definitely the Lions were hoping to get a touchdown instead.
Well, Chuck, that's got to be an awfully slippery ball out there right now. In fact, when it's down on the ground, it's hard to even find out there right now. And Wes out onto the field to talk to the boys. Might still be making up his mind.
Well, the nice thing is, Joe, is it gives Josh Goff a blow, seeing that he had his hands on his hips and stuff. He may be a little winded from running that big play, and he may just gave him a blow and hand it off tackle. What do you think?
Well, the Lions hope he stays winded all night. Yeah, I'm sure the way Josh has been running the ball, if they can keep their hands on it and not let it go, he's going to be a big factor in the game tonight. I really felt going into this that Morrill for the Indians would have an advantage, but Goff has really surprised me in the footing he's been able to keep in this game with the conditions that they are on the field. Okay, we're bringing in a field goal try. It looks like Cox to hold. Looks like about a 31-yard attempt. Thorson back to kick. Let's see if this is a real kick or not. 31 yards is a good stretch in the mud. The snap, it's down. The kick, it's up. No good. With 8:08 left on the clock in the second quarter, the score remains St. Helens 15, Scappoose 12.
Well, if there's a positive point to be had here, Joe, it may be the fact that St. Helens has got Scappoose deep in Scappoose territory with only 8 minutes to try to drive down the field.
Yeah, let's see where they spot that. That's going to be a 1st and 10, looks like about the 18-yard line. 19.
I need to move.
Scappoose sets up. There's a shot from the boom cam from the end zone. See the formation. Wayne drops back to pass. Pass is long. He's got 2 St. Helens receivers wide open, but no one from Scappoose near that ball. Well, they've got Gary well covered out there.
Yeah, and it looked to me like he slipped a little bit getting out of the backfield, Joe, and I don't believe Wayne's seen that. If it's a timing pattern, it looks like it was on a normal play. Clayton Gary's close to catching that if he can, but tonight I'd say that you need to take a look and see how he's getting out of the backfield first.
That's the second time in a row on a change of possession Scappoose come out winging it, and that's kind of unusual for either one of these teams. So that might be part of Keith Eads' game plan for tonight, is to pull quick passes on first downs. Wayne under center, 2nd and 10. Handoff to Morrill near side. He's got some room. Barreling for about 6 yards on the carry.
So he's going to be about 2.5, 3 yards short, Joe, of the first down on that. But that's a good play call for the Indians. It keeps the ball on the ground and some secure hands and gets some yardage.
Yeah, one thing you'll notice when he runs the ball, he wraps his arms around it and he protects it very well. He doesn't move as fast as some of the other backs, but guarding that ball tonight may be very important. Okay, Scappoose pulls up 3rd and about 4. Wayne under center, drops back for another pass to the far side. He's got a receiver, got a 1st down, and let's see where they spot the ball on this one, Chuck. Real close.
Well, it looks like they're going to give him forward momentum, but I tell you what, if nothing else, it says to Scappoose, hello, we're here.
Yeah, there's a couple folks saying hello out there. I didn't get any numbers on the defensive players. Gary, the receiver. Gary, Goff, and Morrill. That's what we're going to hear tonight. It almost sounds like a brokerage firm for an attorney. We don't want to even refer to attorneys.
They got more class than that, Joe. Come on.
Wayne under center, 1st and 10 for the Indians. Drops back. Got a man open on the near side. Timing pattern. Being caught on the near side by, that must be Gary getting his Got his face mask right in the mud on that one. He paid for that catch. He's down to the 40-yard line of the Lions, though, and brings up another first down for the Indians.
It is, and I think Jeremy Cox was a little surprised in that play, Joe. I think he thought that Gary was going to cut it off to the sidelines, and he turned it upfield, and so with that step and a half, that's all he needs.
Yeah, it looks like Scappoose is going to start going to the pass more often than they had in the first quarter. They got 6 minutes, 29 seconds left on the clock. Our score remains St. Helens 15, Scappoose 12. Wayne calling signals to both sides, up under center. Drops back, dropping back, being pursued. He's got a man open. He got the catch on Gary on the far side, down for another Indian first down, Chuck, and they got to stop that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. That went right through Jason Thorson's hands. I think he thought he had the easy interception, and instead, Clayton Gary's got another first down for the Scappoose Indians with looks to be 6:04 and running.
Well, Wayne, quite a mobile quarterback in the backfield back there. He had some good pursuit on him, but he's pretty sure-footed back there. Gave him plenty of time. St. Helens needs to have that kind of pursuit, but they've got to pull the quarterback down a couple times to knock that down. Gary's going to be at it all night. Wayne up under center. Handoff to Morrow off the far side. He's got some room. He's out about 6 yards on the carry.
Morrow on the Broadway again, brought down by a wiggle. After a gain of 5, second and 5.
Wayne under center, 2nd and 6 on play. Handoff up the middle. Got the yardage, got the first down and more. Being brought down by a host of Lion tacklers, but after a good carry on the play.
I'd have to agree, Joe. I also seen a little bit of momentum switch in that play. It looked like St. Helens might have given up a little more than just the yardage on the field.
Well, those 2 catches Gary made really started this off, and they've had the Lions backpedaling, and they looked almost stunned back there. If Scappoose continues this, we're going to have a turnaround in the leader on the scoreboard.
Well, big Kyle Murray back in the game. Let's see if he can get some pursuit on Wayne on this play.
1st and 10 Indians. Handoff, they stopped him for about 1 on the carry, maybe not even a gain.
You see Micah Smith in there for the tackle for the Lions, or helping with the tackle on him. With Morrow, you're going to need more than one guy, but hopefully St. Helens will stop a little bit of this momentum and hold Scappoose to maybe 3.
Well, it's the setup for the next 2 plays that they're really aiming for. And we'll more than likely see Wayne break out with another pass to Gary here. It's been too consistent to avoid. St. Helens defense being crowded toward the end zone might get a little tougher now. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Morrow up the middle, all the running room he needs. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Scappoose. Yeah, that was a freight train on the loose, Chuck.
Yeah, I'd agree, Joe. And I tell you, Clayton Gary had one heck of a fake on the St. Helens defender, who was just watching Clayton, wasn't watching where the ball was at, and helped his buddy David Morrell into the end zone.
Bringing you a good close-up of the Indian huddle now. Wayne to the near side with the pass, got a man open, and Scappoose gets the 2 points back, and Stoddard on the reception for the Indians. That brings us with 3:53 left in the first half. Scappoose 20, St. Helens 15. Chuck, a 5-point lead. This should really get to be an interesting game as time goes on.
Oh, I think you might see the lead swap 2 or 3 or 4 more times before this thing's all said and done, Joe. But definitely St. Helens needs to, get something going, because Scappoose steps up and rings the bell again.
Yeah, we've got a pretty quiet St. Helens crowd over here on this side, and you can certainly hear the Scappoose crowd across the field. Momentum has swung. Now we'll just see if that continues into the second half. While we've got time, I want to thank some more of our sponsors for tonight's program. Lone Star Northwest.
I really thought you could run your store on mine, but nobody runs it like I do. It's tricky.
Precision engraving.
He likes to get the ball.
Wayside Inn.
Someone winds up in front of him there.
Longfellow's Restaurant. And P&G Tripway. There's a kick going deep to White. Taking it around the far side. He's got some running room. He's got a wall being brought down. Oh, he reverses field. He's got some running room on this side. Oh boy, he's off to the races, and a little bit of mud in front of him is the only thing that's going to stop him, and he's off. And we just talked about a turnaround, Chuck, and my oh my, he saw Clayton Gary do that, and he says, I'm going to do the same thing.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Well, we talked about a momentum swing. It just came back to this side of the field. The St. Helens crowd is on their feet, and you hear nothing from the far side. We're in for a ball game.
Well, like I say, Joe, that lead may swing 3 or 4 times before this thing's all said and done. You know, the enthusiasm and the intensity of both these teams, I just don't see any end to it.
Thorson lining up for the extra point. Cox to hold. St. Helens 21, Scappoose 20. Ball's down. Kick is up. It's good. St. Helens now leads the ball game 22-20 with 3 minutes and 34 seconds left in the first half. And I thought this would be about the final score, not the halftime score.
I'd have to agree, Joe. I tell you what, 22-20, that extra conversion we had there in the first quarter made, like you say, play real big towards the end of this thing.
Ooh, I got to catch my breath. I like these kind of games. This shows you what the Coapa League can do and what quality action they can bring you. For you folks who didn't come out to tonight's ball game, you're missing something special.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. I tell you what, if you look across that field over there to the Scappoose side, you'll see that those stands are completely filled, and that only happens one time every 2 years, and that's when Scappoose comes down. But I'll tell you more than that, Joe. If you look at the friendly rivalry that's happened between St. Helens and Scappoose through all the years, nothing hard or bad has ever come from it, but it's sure nice to see so many fans enthusiastic over high school football.
Yeah, it really draws them out, and the state championships that the Coapa League has brought home and the hardware they've brought home in the last 4 or 5 years has really made a difference. Well, we're trying to bring you some shots from our end zone bucket cam. It's an exciting night for CCTV as we've got a 3-camera shot going for you tonight. One at 3 different levels. Always throwing some new wrinkles your direction. If you'd like to be a volunteer for CCTV, give them a call at 397-5886. They'd be happy to teach you how to use the equipment, and you can take part in Coapa League action. Kickoff going deep on the ground and to Stoddard. Got some room at the 30 and being brought down by the last 2 tacklers. Goff on the tackle. And if he'd have busted another 5 yards, oh, we've got an injured player on the field for Scappoose. And it doesn't look like a pretty one. Well, we're just waiting to see if we can identify the injured player. We're still looking. Well, while we have this timeout in the action, we at CCTV hope you're enjoying our broadcast of tonight's Coapa League action. And we thank our major contributors for bringing it to you. We also want to remind you that CCTV is Columbia County's leader in video sports coverage. Tonight's broadcast is solely the property of Columbia Community Television, and any duplication or rebroadcast of this telecast must have the express written consent of Columbia Community Television and its board of directors. And we'd also like to thank you for tuning in tonight. 3:27 left in the half. We've got a 22-20 score, St. Helens, and the player's on his feet, which is a good sign, being walked off the field.
Well, I think what might happen there, Joe, I didn't quite catch it, but it looked to be like Josh Goff and the other St. Helens tackler wrapped up and entwined in his knee and just twisted it around.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky it's a soft field out there because it could be a lot worse.
Let's see, close up to the line.
But it's always a good sign when you see somebody walk off.
Oh, I don't.
Scappoose up under center, 1st and 10. On their own 35-yard line. In motion, pitch out. Morrill on the right side. Picks up about 5 yards, comes up to the 43-yard line. That'll bring up a second.
Pitch out from Wayne.
Christy, you get that last one? 77 and 55. Let's go, defense!
Okay, we've got a 2nd and 5 at the 43-yard line for the Indians. St. Helens with a slim lead in a great game. Morrill to the near side. He's got some running room, being tripped up, and St. Helens stayed home on the play. Great defensive stop for the Lions. About 3 players in on that, held him short of the first down.
That was our quarterback, Jeremy Cox, tripping Mr. Morrell up. And I tell you what, Joe, if he doesn't trip him up, he's getting a lot more yards than what he got.
That's probably about a 60 or 70 pound difference in players, too. So. And we've got Wayne up under center for the Indians. Drops back, handoff deep to Morrill. He's got the first down, a little bit more. Well, St. Helens got a hand on him in the backfield, Chuck, and they did manage to let him slip through for a first down, but they aren't letting him escape, and that's what's important.
Well, what we might be seeing here, Joe, is a first down for Scappoose, but it also brings them within throwing distance to go deep with only a minute 55 and counting to Mr. Gary.
Yeah, I'm sure the St. Helens defensive backs are thinking about what they've already seen in this game, and they're going to be tight on any kind of an outside pass. Scappoose bringing 2 receivers from their side. Single tech back is Morrill. Wayne takes the snap, drops back. He's looking to the near side, being pursued. Might have to run it out of bounds. And he picks up about 3 yards and slammed out of bounds into the St. Helens bench. And we've got one fired up St. Helens team out there right now, defensive player. And Wayne's carrying about 5 pounds of mud with him back onto the field. Half of it's in his face mask.
Would you believe that was our quarterback made that stick with Micah Smith's help, but that's our quarterback, the guy that you're supposed to be protecting, making that hit, you know?
Well, that's about 2 in a row for him. He was in on that last one.
Kyle Murray with the excellent pursuit from St. Helens. That boy was getting across the field, Joe.
Yeah, they forced him to take it out of bounds. He couldn't, good defensive back play too, because none of the receivers he was expecting to be open were open. 2nd and about 7. Gary in motion to the near side. Wayne on the keeper. He's got the first down. Well, first downs are going to be good, but they're not going to get Scappoose in the end zone before time runs out. I think they're going to need at least one more pass play.
First down, Scappoose.
That does bring it down to the 40-yard line. Chuck, I do want to say I am impressed with the play of Mike Wayne at quarterback for the Scappoose Indians. I know that last year when they lost Broberg, they thought they were losing a lot at quarterback, and Wayne stepped up significantly for the Indians this year. Handoff to Morrill to the far side. He's got some running room. He's wide open, heading. Oh, he broke about 3 tackles, took it down to about the 20-yard line.
Well, look out for our defensive backs, Stevie Dubois and Jason Thorson. He's gone for 6 points, Joe, and on your other comment, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, they thought they had lost the world when Robbie Broberg graduated, and Mike Wayne basically comes from nowhere, but definitely has stepped in and filled the shoes.
Well, he's got a lot of poise out there, and you can see it, and he's got good feet, good arm. You couldn't ask for much more when you go through a program like Scappoose or St. Helens has, just to have that many rows of sharp teeth. I know St. Helens is deep at running back. themselves. They've got about 5 guys, 6 guys that could start in that backfield. 52 seconds left in the first half, and Scappoose trying hard to take the lead back before halftime. St. Helens' defense should tighten up as we get closer to the end zone.
Yeah, if you're St. Helens, Wes, I think, is telling the kids, Joe, tighten up a little bit here. And if you're Scappoose, I think you're telling Mike Wayne, get the ball to Clayton Gary or hand it off tackle to Morrell. He seems to be getting quite a few yards on those.
Yeah, St. Helens in prevent defense, and Scappoose looking for the hands team. They've got some good skill positions, though, so you should see at least one more completion to Gary, or at least an attempt. Wayne pitch back. Got Gary deep. Gary's got some room around the corner. Being stopped at about the 16-yard line, and good pursuit by St. Helens. Penalty flag on the play, and St. Helens couldn't ask for worse timing. Late hit on St. Helens, I believe.
I was going to say that was a perfect play, Joe, right there, because they stopped Clayton Gary inbounds to keep the clock running, and the referee helped them out.
Late hit, it sure was.
Yeah, penalty is against St. Helens, and I think that carries an automatic with it. 42 seconds, and that's plenty of time from where the Scappoose Indians are to punch it into the end zone. St. Helens is going to have to offer some stiff defense to keep them out.
You wanted a piece of him.
And that was a pretty clean flag coming out of his pocket there, Chuck. We haven't seen too many tonight.
Well, it was even, like I said, Joe, it looked like it was after the play. And I guess I didn't see it, or understand it more than see it, but I understand against Scappoose in the Astoria game there was a couple of those mystery flags.
That's it. Good with you? Yeah. We got 3 of them wired up in the back.
Well, Joe, I think you're going to see 47 or 42 seconds of excitement here. I think if you're Scappoose, you're going to come out with Mr. Morrell off tackle. It seemed to be real successful in this drive earlier, and St. Helens is going to have to step up and make the tackle.
Well, they're lining up the bucket cam to bring you some end zone action here. .42 seconds to go. Hand off to Morrell up the middle. No room. St. Helens tight on defense, and there's a pile out there. Maybe a yard and a half on the carry. Runs a little time off the clock.
Well, fumble on the play, but they were saying that Morrell was down. But Paul Leiner leading the charge on that from the St. Helens line is kind of collapsing that pile in the middle of the field and then get some help from his friends.
Yeah, both teams are starting to look kind of alike out there right now. It's going to be a little tough to pick numbers for you folks out there for the remainder of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you hear about the pranks?
What?
Somebody pulled some pranks in Scappoose, and they got big trouble in Scappoose. They canceled the dance, and
Oh, really?
I don't know. I heard what they do. Try to paint some orangey red zones or something.
I'm gonna back you guys up just a hair here. We might need this one.
Well, watching Scappoose in years past, Joe, and seeing the trickery plays that Scappoose has had in their bag, I wouldn't doubt you might see a double reverse or a flip slam of some sort. And they pulled them off, Joe. I mean, they've really been successful at it.
Maybe Gary throwing a pass instead of catching one. Wayne drops back to pass. He looks to the corner. Got a man open, being knocked down. St. Helens defenders tight on the play.
Josh Goff with a hand on that, Joe, and that was smart thinking on his part. Just knock that ball down, not to try to be a hero and make an interception.
Well, we got 29 seconds left in the half, and it's going to get it right down to it. Scappoose may shortly have to worry about that clock. They've got a third down and about 8 to get a first down. That's going to become big right now for them, but
Well, that's third and goal, Joe.
third and goal. It's on the 8, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't believe they can get a first down, which may help St. Helens if they can hold for 2 more downs.
3rd and goal from the 8. Big play for the Indians. Drops back. Got pursued. Being hit. Gets his receiver out of the end zone. No, he's in the end zone. Touchdown. I think he was out of the end zone, Chuck.
Maybe we got a good shot from the bucket cam on that one, Joe. If we can see a replay, possibly. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, he looked like he was right on that line if he was in, but it was only by a couple grass hairs if he was.
Yeah, it was a great catch. We got to give him that. But when I saw him come down, it looked like he was outside the end zone. But they've got a much better vantage point than we do. Well, Scappoose does it. They push back on top with 24 seconds left on the clock.
Very important conversion coming up here, Joe. If you're Scappoose and you get the 2 points, that puts them up by 6.
Wayne drops back, pass. It's good for the 2 points. And that's going to send Scappoose back to kick off.
That made my year right there.
With a 28-22 lead in this game. Well, I'm kind of surprised, Chuck, that the Lions allowed the Indians to get all the way downfield, but both these teams are showing pretty potent offenses tonight. St. Helens has come off longer runs. Scappoose more grinding it out, first down by first down as they move down the field, taking a lot more time off the clock. But one thing that you know can happen with 24 seconds left on the clock, we saw it before. If Josh Goff gets his hand on that ball, St. Helens may go in with the lead. We don't know.
Well, or Ronnie White like he did in the last kickoff, Joe. But I tell you, Scappoose showing a lot of patience on that drive, Joe. Not getting in a hurry or throwing long passes. First down after first down after first down. And I tell you, it looked real good.
Yeah, like you say, a lot of patience. Almost looked like a professional drive as they were going downfield. Oh boy, here we go. 24 seconds left in the first half. Scappoose 28, St. Helens 22. Scappoose ready to kick off. We've got 50 points on the board. There's a low kick, squib kick being covered by St. Helens. One of the up men, Kyle Murray, gets it on the 45-yard line.
I don't believe he was a member of the good hand team, but I'll tell you what, there he was a good member of it.
He knew just what to do with that ball, and I think Bigham's probably proud of him for doing it. Too many times you see him try to pick it up and run with it when they aren't a skill position player, but that leaves St. Helens with a maximum amount. It only kicked off 3 seconds. 21 seconds left on the clock. Let's see what kind of trick play they pull out of the bag. Yeah, we got time for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I heard that in the background. That's almost true, Joe. As fast as Josh Goff and Clayton Gary can get those things in the end zone, they do.
Cox on the roll. He's got some room. Gets the ball out of bounds about the 41-yard line with 14 seconds left.
Mike Henshaw for the Scappoose Indians knocking him out of bounds, Joe, but that's a good smart play for Jeremy is to get it out of bounds and stop the clock.
Yeah, they're out there trudging around in that mud out there, and there's no good footing. Like they're going to position the ball about the 42. Brings up a 1st and 10 St. Helens. 14 seconds on the clock. Might get off 2 plays. Well, I think we're going to see Goff here someplace. He's not even in the backfield right now, is he? Oh, Goff gets the ball. He's throwing halfback. Oh, no. Ball's on the ground being covered by a St. Helens player.
Kyle Murray again on the recovery for St. Helens Lions, but I tell you, Joe, Josh just could not get the handle on that.
Well, that brings the first half to a close, and with the scores, St. Helens 22, Scappoose in the lead with 28.
Well, if you're Scappoose on that one, Joe, you just dodged a major bullet from St. Helens on the scoring attempt. If Josh could have got a handle on that ball to give it a whirl, we may be possibly seeing a different score than what you see right now at halftime.
Well, 50 points on the board. We don't know what's going to happen in the second half, but we're going to give you an end zone scan shot from our bucket cam located high above the field. I think we can stretch that thing up about 40, 50 feet up. And if you'd like to donate one of these to CCTV, it'll cost you approximately $250,000.
Huh? We're just going to stand here? Okay, I'm going to put this camera right under this battery.
And now we're going to bring you a word from Parents Are Powerful Teachers.
I'm Ted Grove, Circuit Court Judge here in Columbia County, and also the primary juvenile court judge. Did you know that most youth arrested for juvenile crime in Columbia County have drug and alcohol problems? Alcohol use is the #1 drug problem among young people today. Please have an open and honest discussion with your child today about alcohol use. For more information, contact the Commission on Children and Families at 397-7211. Parents are powerful teachers.
I'm Don Lowrance, a longtime Clatskanie area educator. When alcohol is served in your home, is a non-alcoholic alternative offered? Do you support local law enforcement in its effort to enforce the drinking age? Do you consider teen drinking a safe alternative to their drug use? For more information, contact the Commission on Children and Families at 397-7211. Parents are powerful teachers.
Chuck Duran, back with you for the second half of action between the St. Helens Lions and the Scappoose Indians. Score is currently Scappoose 28, St. Helens 22. And we've seen a lot of big plays, Chuck, but it really's all come down to blocking, tackling, and the basics of football out there.
I'd have to agree, Joe. You're coming down to what you see in Pee Wee football in the 6th and 7th grade, and I'll tell you what, it's been a score fest so far.
Well, we've got 50 points on the board at halftime, and it's hard to tell what's going to happen here in the second half. This could be anybody's ball game. There goes the kickoff to the Indians, being fallen upon at about the 27-yard line, no, 23-yard line. Indians will take possession, 1st and 10. 1 second off the clock.
The Scappoose 24-yard line.
That's a good play by Dan Salvi on that play, Joe, just to fall on the ball and not try to pick it up and advance it with no blockers.
Yeah, I think ball handling skills in the second half are going to prove crucial. St. Helens has probably got a little bit of a halftime talk about holding on to the ball. They can't afford to lose any in the second half if they want to win this game. Wayne up the middle for a carry of about 3 or 4.
I tell you, Joe, that was a little keyed off. The center and Wayne took off about 2 seconds before the rest of the Scappoose Indian line.
Well, kind of a change from the last 2 possessions in the first half where he broke out with a pass to Gary on both first downs of the possessions. So a little bit of mix up there. Scappoose is going to start off with their running game again, see if they can get that generated. They've got the lead right now, so they don't really need any big plays. They just need to stay ahead.
Well, on Scappoose in the second quarter, finding the running game to be very good to them as they pitch to Morrell. You see him headed up north and south now, and almost picking up yards for a first down. He may be brought down by a host of Lions.
It does look like a first down, Chuck. They are starting to move the chains. 2 plays for a first down for the Indians, and the Lions defense can't afford to let that continue.
Hey! Hey! Make sure your line back to wall! Hey! Watch your alignment!
Ball on the 34, 1st and 10. Wayne brings the Indians up to the line of scrimmage. There's a snap, fakes the handoff, keeper for no yardage. Looked like he was thinking about a pitch back to Gary, but didn't look too promising, so he held the ball.
As you see on that one, Joe, number 84 for the St. Helens Lions hold him up so that his buddy Kyle Murray can come over and say hello to Mike Wayne.
Well, you want to, if you're the Lions, you want to get Wayne's hands as slippery as you can because he's going to be a key in the second half. If he lets that ball go a couple of times, it'll put the Lions right back on top.
So far, Joe, Kyle Murray being involved in several key Lions plays on recoveries and tackles, playing a heck of a ball game.
He's a scrapper. Wayne drops back to pass, looks to the near side of the field, has his receiver. And number 88 for the Indians is Brandon Mann. Get that right.
Hold him right here, D.
Mann is a 6 foot, 160-pound junior for the Indians with a fresh jersey.
You can definitely tell the players, Joe, from Scappoose anyhow, and St. Helens both for that fact, didn't get a whole lot of playing time in the first half, but although Clayton Gary's jersey seems to be pretty clean at this point.
Wayne drops back again, rolling to the far side of the field, looking downfield, throws the ball away, didn't have a receiver open, and found the ground to be the best place to put the ball. That's going to bring up a 3rd down for the Indians, 4th down for the Indians. And they kind of wasted a play there, Chuck.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. Clayton Gary was kind of a little open coming across the middle, and
I don't think Mike Wayne seen him, but definitely going to bring up punt time for Scappoose. And it shows St. Helens giving a pretty good effort on defense too, Joe, to stop the Indians on, I guess it'd be 8 plays and out.
Well, there's no real momentum yet in the second half, and either side of the field is cheering too strongly, so we'll see how things go here shortly. 9 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. High snap. Still gets his foot on the ball. Fairly decent punt out of bounds at the far side of the field, about the 42-yard line where the Lions will take possession, 1st and 10. This should be an interesting set of downs for the Lions, see what they come out with. Good field position. They're right in the middle of a mud hole out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of an opener with a wedge with Goff up the middle. That was so successful on that one touchdown run for Goff that I can't see them avoiding that for very long. It looks like the ball, they're placing it about the 46-yard line. That's upfield from where I thought I saw it go out.
Well, with Evelyn coming out of the ball game and White checking in, they may be going with some sort of a speed offense, Joe.
That Goff up the middle for a carry of about 4. Not so sure I wouldn't come right back with that, Chuck.
They're on the wrong side of the field for me to see it.
Got a good 4-yard carry on that, and they may not be expecting it again.
Not only that, Joe, but they're coming into a section of the field. It looks like it from here. It might even be green. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's very little of that left, but it is to the outsides of the field. If someone can break to the outside, they've got some pretty good footing going to the end zone. Cox, 2nd down and 6 for the Lions. Handoff up the middle, and for a gain of about 1. He might have kept that. I didn't see it here.
Well, that was a shaky handoff there, Joe. I don't know that Josh Goff got it fully into his hands, and it might have hindered the play quite a bit.
Yeah, it didn't even look like he got it off to me. I thought Cox kept the ball for a second or two there.
3rd down, 5.
3rd and 5 brings up a big play for the Lions to get any kind of a momentum going here in the second half.
Are we going to see that spin keeper?
That's been the play they've been using on this kind of a down. He comes out throwing, almost picked off, and a great play for St. Helens by Jason Thorson. And if he had not wrapped up the arm of the Indian defender, that would have been 6 points the other direction.
Yeah, definitely Mike Henshaw, who played for St. Helens last year, Joe, definitely had almost 6 points written on him. At that point, Jason becomes the defender to keep that from happening and done a fantastic job.
Alex Long back to punt for the Lions.
Oh, he was offside.
Gets his foot into it. Good kick going downfield. Good kick, driving the Indian player back. St. Helens on top of it, but he eludes them to the near side. Breaks 3 tackles, and they got on him. But once again,
brought down about on the 15-yard line, Joe. Some good pursuit from the Lions. You see Eddie Winkles limping off the field a bit, but tell you what, Clayton Gary definitely eluding some tackles, trying to break something open.
Yeah, he's dangerous anytime he gets his hands on the ball, Chuck. He's quite an impressive player. I'm sure he's the type that will go on to one of Oregon's small colleges and have quite a career. There's our end zone bucket cam again for you, bringing you the action down toward the scoreboard end zone.
Well, that's a nice shot, Joe. Look at that. That's something that you don't see but on Friday night flights even. We don't need no sneaking helicopter.
Brenton Pyle, our cameraman in the
you see Wayne on the keeper there, Joe, bringing up 2nd down and about 7. He picked up 3 on that one. That seemed to be running that play quite a bit on first down. At least the first couple of times they've had the ball.
Well, they use Wayne as almost a second back in the backfield. They set back Morrill and really don't have a 2-man set in the backfield. Sometimes using Gary for the pitch out, but Wayne is really almost a halfback back there.
We had that luxury last year with Jesse Hagginson as quarterback for St. Helens, and Jeremy Cox proven to be pretty good at that effort also.
Up the middle and some running room, close to a first down. Morrill on the carry for about 6 or 7.
Down for Scappoose.
Does give Scappoose a first down, and that's going to place the ball to see if we can see any yard lines out there anymore. About the 30-yard line, I'm going to guess. No, about 27.
I know, I probably talked to
Brings up 1st and 10 for the Indians. Wayne takes the snap, hands off to Gary, gets about a yard or two on the play, but nothing opens up for him.
Boy, Lean rolls around for St. Helens just in time to see the ball handed off to Gary and makes a good smart tackle with some help from Evelyn on that play.
Coach, I got to get him now.
Gain of 2.
Get back! Go the edge and get outside first!
Second down 8.
St. Helens showing another good defensive stand here. Scappoose was kind of hesitant to put the ball in the air here in the second half, which did them a lot of good in the first half, but with the lead they're currently holding, they don't really have a need right now, Chuck.
That's what I was going to say too, Joe. There's no sense of hurrying on Scappoose's part. Just keep the ball on the ground and keep that clock rolling. Is what they're probably curious going to be at this point.
Well, there's another carry for little or no gain, and it's going to bring up a third and about 7. Lean again on the tackle.
Okay, third down 8.
Looks like Lean and Murray are our mud players of the night so far. They've been in on quite a few of the stops for St. Helens.
The wind picking up. Obviously, you can't see that on television, but the wind's definitely picking up. Could be helping Scappoose at this point, it being at their back. We'll have to see on the punt if it happens.
Wayne drops back to pass. He's looking about 15 yards downfield, finds Gary, who has the ball and is out of bounds at about the 44-yard line for a first down for the Indians. No flags on the play. Stevie Dubois on the stop out of bounds.
Gary's awesome, isn't he?
Well, Coach Johnson giving Jason Post the business on that one. Jason having not much of an answer, but hopefully St. Helens will stiffen up a little bit.
Well, you know, it doesn't look like anybody's as motivated as they were in the first half out there. They might have cooled off a little bit at halftime. It's got to be some pretty cold conditions out there. Scappoose in their brown uniforms. Wayne stumbles a bit, or he might have had a few more yards, but picks up about 6 or 7 on the carry. Tried to turn the corner, and not a lot of footing left out on that field.
Bobby Hubb's getting some pretty good pursuit for the Lions on that one there, Joe. He would have read that just a bit sooner. We may have had a pretty good sack for a loss.
Well, St. Helens is going to have to come up with some way to stop Scappoose on this drive. They managed last time, but Scappoose has been pounding it out and keeping their hands wrapped tightly on the ball. That's one thing I got to say for the Indians in this game tonight, is they have really kept an eye on how they're holding on to that ball, not letting it loose. And carry up the middle, stretching forward for about 2 yards. Morrill on the carry.
Gain of about a yard, stopped by Winkle.
When we can't see the numbers, we just say Morrill, because about 75% of the time.
Hey, that's the big boy out of the backfield, Joe. I think you're going to see his number dinged one more time here. It may be waiting on a keeper, but I think you're going to see his name come up again.
Well, you really got to watch out on this one, Chuck. This could be a breaker for the Indians if they try any kind of a pass to catch them off guard. But you're right, it's Wayne up the middle for the first down. Got just enough for the first down, and the wind is starting to whirl.
Well, that first down, you can credit that to the Scappoose Indian line, Joe. They've come up and blew St. Helens right off the field, or right down the field, I should say, for 3 yards, and so you can give that to the Scappoose line on that one.
Well, there's another shot from our bucket cam at the end of the field, showing you a view from about 50, 55 feet in the air. And it's got to be a little wavery up there now, because the wind has picked up from that end of the field. St. Helens in a 4-3 defense. Pitch back to Gary on the near side. Hurdles over one man. Picks up about 4 yards on the hurdle alone. Being knocked out of bounds right at about the St. Helens 40-yard line.
Sorry, I lost the ball and couldn't see.
Here's some of the fans calling for a clip on that play, but didn't see a flag. We've seen very few flags tonight.
It could be a flag on the field, Joe, but would you see it?
Looks more like a tighty-dighty down there. Single setback is Morrill, 2 receivers to each side of the field. Wayne on the keeper. He's got some running room, stopped by the St. Helens defenders. with a gain of about 2. That'll bring a third and about 2 or 3, probably 3rd and 2.
It looked like that might have been a broken play, Joe. It looked like he was trying to hand it off to Morrell, and he was on the wrong side of it, and it was just turned out to be a quarterback keeper as a result.
They've really changed their attack here in the second half, and I don't know that St. Helens is quite ready to give up on the pass plays yet. I think Scappoose might be trying to sucker them in with all these running plays up the middle. They haven't really broke out with the kind of passes to Gary they did in the first half.
Well, they really don't need to, Joe. They've driven down the field with the ball on the ground, and until the St. Helens line steps up and gets some pursuit going and tackles made, it ain't going to happen.
Ball on the ground. St. Helens recovers. Good stick by the St. Helens defense, springs the ball loose, and St. Helens comes up with it. They'll be 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line, and that's a big turnover on that drive.
It is, Joe, and it's a big momentum breaker for Scappoose. They hadn't put the ball in the air hardly at all, if at all, on that drive, and drove the better part of the field just to turn the ball over to St. Helens on the 30-yard line.
Well, did you get a good shot of it? Absolutely as good as you can get.
Maybe you surprised Scappoose with just off tackle, huh?
Well, here comes the bag of tricks. Up 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line. Cox under center, full house backfield. Pitches to Evelyn off the near side. He's got some room. One Scappoose defender brings him down, and it looked like if he'd have broke that one, he had one man to beat. Hard getting any footing out there. You can see him really struggling to get his feet planted in that mud. Does bring up a St. Helens 1st down.
Clayton Gary doing a good job playing monster backs for the Scappoose Indians, Joe. And I think Coach Eads just kind of gives him the free reign of the field to close in as he needs to. But Mike Henshaw was getting ready to make that tackle, and Clayton Gary just stepped in and took over.
Yeah, with his speed, he's an excellent pursuit man, and evidently doesn't get winded going both ways for the Indians. Cox under center, pitch back to Goff. Goff's got a hold to off tackle. He gets about 2 yards, 3 yards on the play.
Well, he's around about 8 yards in that play, Joe. He spent 3 of it spinning in the mud just to get the 3 he got.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a good carry, and then I noticed he was really only picking up 2 or 3 yards. But what St. Helens is really looking for is to spring Josh. Illegal procedure, St. Helens is going to bring this one back. And this is a pretty costly penalty out in the mud. Those yards are hard to make up.
Well, especially when you're on your side of the field, Joe. You can't afford any penalty for that fact, but when it comes on your side of the half of the field and 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, you might want to write that one down. It could be pretty costly.
Scappoose still clinging to a 28-22 lead in this game. 1 minute 56 seconds as we tick off the clock in the 3rd quarter. St. Helens comes up from the ball 1st and 15. Pitch back to White. Got some room and could get some yardage. Oh, good stick.
Brought down by guess who, Joe?
Mr. Gary.
Mr. Magic.
Well, he's been putting on the pursuit for the Indians tonight.
We didn't have plays. We wouldn't have a team fast.
Yeah, Gary came out of nowhere to put a stop on White, and White was smelling touchdown on that one.
Well, that's why Coach Eads has got him where he's at. He just gives him free reign of the field and lets him cinch the ball, and he does well at that.
Well, I see a green patch on the far side of the field, which is the wide side right now. Got a good shot of the ball there coming in on the Zoom cam here on the upper deck, St. Helens Sport booth. Bring up a 2nd and about 10 plus. Drops back to pass, got a man wide open. Oh, if he hadn't been pressured in the backfield, that would have been a great reception.
Lane stretching his arms out just as far as that big statue of his could do, but it's just, you're right, it wasn't enough because Jeremy was pressured too much in the backfield.
Well, that's what Richie Russell from Kohai told me was a leaping leaner.
So far to the right. Yes, you have.
There you saw it.
You have been. Well, you've had a little more experience or something.
Cox drops back, pitch back to Goff. He's got some room. He's off to the races down the far side, being tripped up with the 1st down and more. And a great play by Goff. St. Helens really needed that first down.
Well, the line really stepped in, took over there, Joe. They pulled over with the guard pulling over and made a good block for Josh to bring him loose for some big yardage.
I mentioned Richie Russell from Cohai. I also want to mention Steve Tupper and Greg Fisher and all the help that they give us up here in the sports booth every game.
Yeah, but that's not fair tonight, Joe. They've got an NFL referee down there. What do we got?
Ball on the ground being picked up by Cox. He's running it for about 3-yard gain, and he was lucky to get his hands on it, but knew what to do with it at that point. St. Helens picks up some yardage. So once again, that ball's on the ground.
Well, I tell you, Joe, it's been a game of the ball on the ground. With the field the way it is, Jeremy doing a good job of picking the ball up and trying to just advance the ball as far as he could before being tackled. As you see the end of the third quarter coming to a close, Joe, and I tell you, it looked to me like the third quarter was just kind of a couple exchanges of punts and some time run off the clock.
Well, with the third quarter coming to a close, we'd like to thank a few of our sponsors for tonight's broadcast. Ace Hardware. St. Helens Federal Credit Union.
Tell me if I'm hot or not.
Eaton's Tire and Used Car Center. And Sunshine Pizza. Well, Chuck, we got a whale of a ball game here, and it hasn't changed since halftime. We went through a scoreless quarter, both teams not allowing much. Oh, we're going to give you a glimpse of Brendan Pyle, Paul Waddington up in the bucket truck at the end of the field. Those are the boys that are bringing you the super cam shot from the end zone. Back to the field, got a St. Helens runner, looked like
brought down again by Clayton Gary, and boy, I tell you what, Joe, you think West might stick somebody on Clayton to get a quick block on him and spring somebody.
Yeah, you got to put a stinger on a guy like that to get him to slow down a little bit. They haven't given Clayton any resistance. He's been doing a heck of a job for the Indians in the backfield. He's working that entire field from sideline to sideline and still coming back on offense. Actually, he looks to be moving better on defense than he is on offense. St. Helens pulls up third and about 4. Handoff up the middle for little or no gain.
Going to bring up a big fourth down, Joe. I think they got maybe a yard or two on that at the most. Depending on the spot, we may get a favorable spot here and be a yard short, but either way you look at it, I think you got to go up the middle.
Well, this is a good time, Chuck, I think, to go either way. You know, going up the middle for 3 might be a little tough against the Scappoose defense, but they might be able to kind of jock them out there if they get half a chance and go around to the end. I see a lot of green grass over there. It hasn't been touched. You know, one of the players we haven't seen involved in the passing game tonight is Jason Thorson, who has pulled in some big plays for the Lions. Let's see if West decides to go up top. Pitch back, right around the corner, he's got the first down.
I tell you what, Joe, he just knuckled his head down and says, you ain't going to stop me till I get that first down, and they didn't.
Well, that's that patch of green I was talking about over there, and he found it, and that's probably about the only footing we got left on the field is in the 4 corners of this field. Okay, 10:08 left on the clock, and still Scappoose 28, St. Helens 22 with the ball and threatening.
You see Brad Beeler and Eckhart both checking in for the Lions, Joe, and Brad Beeler being the recipient of a couple of good passes earlier. You see the pitch go to White and going up the middle.
Taking some people with him there.
Hey, he's dragging Clayton Gary. That's pretty good job for him.
Yeah, good forward momentum. He looked more like Morrill carrying the ball there. Well, St. Helens has got to have some fresh legs at running back that they could substitute at this point in the game. You've got some pretty tired boys out there mudding around. Haven't really seen Goff break one recently. There's always time for that. Cox under center, second and about 6 or 7. Timeout. Officials timeout, I believe. I guess it's timeout called by the St. Helens bench. While we've got a timeout, we'll continue to talk about some of the fine sponsors that have brought you tonight's broadcast. Scappoose Business and Tax Service. Forsyth's Columbia City Sports and Recreation Club.
Should be a good battery.
The Columbia Funeral Home. And Larry's BP station in Scappoose. Well, Chuck, 50 points in the first half. We've gone almost 15 minutes in the second half, 9 minutes left on the clock, and nobody can put it in the end zone. What's going on out there?
I don't know, Joe. I see a lot of head slapping going on in the Lions huddle. Looking to be a little fire being made in there.
St. Helens up under center, second and about 6. Fake, keeper up the middle. Cox has got some yardage, good for the first down. Didn't want to give it up. He kept fighting for some yardage out there. It's one tough Jeremy Cox out there.
Well, even when he started to turn him out to knock him out of bounds, he turned it the other way and it wasn't finished yet. The nice thing is for St. Helens, Joe, is it's 1st and 10 instead of 1st and goal. We can get, first down, without scoring, which really helps us at this point in the game with 8:58 and running. It could be a real advantage for us.
St. Helens 1st and 10. 12-yard line up the middle. Looks like he's got some room. Oh, two Scappoose defenders sandwiched him.
That's a good run for Ronnie White. I tell you, he just stuck his head down and said, I'm going forward.
Down to about the, looks like 4 or 5 yard line. It's going to bring up a... I guess we're not seeing too good. It's about the 8 yard line from here. Up the middle again. Looks like White off the right side. And they're playing down around the 3 yard line. A real tough angle from where our location is there up in the sports booth. So we're going to let the cameras do a little more talking.
I'm not sure if our viewers know it or not, Joe, but the gentleman in the white hat you see used to be an NFL referee.
Well, we've got one on the field, and we've also got Terry Gerke up here in the booth across the way with Kohai doing some interviews. So not only you might be able to catch him on Kohai live tonight, but possibly we can get an interview with him after the game.
Yeah, I'm told from our friend Steve Tupper over Kohai that the gentleman in the white hat was a linesman for the NFL for 6 to 7 years, I understand, and decided to just give it up and do high school ball.
Third and 1 for the Lions. Take you to our picture here and let you watch the play.
Well, you can't see it in the picture, Joe, but all the St. Helens fans and Scappoose fans standing up at this point, one cheering for the team to score and the other one cheering for them to hold it. So a lot of enthusiasm taking place right now.
A little confusion on the field there. Change of formation. Cox takes the ball under center, snap, fumbles the ball right on top of it for a loss of about 2 yards, and what an untimely play. Field goal does no good at this point, Chuck. They've got to go for it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. This happened to us early in the year when we were down that far and fumbled. And at this point, West has got to could opt otherwise, but at this point, Joe, you got to just go for it.
Yeah, I think We've said it all too often, but it's probably Josh Goff, the money man, off tackle. They've got to have this one, and these are the kind of times when Goff's always come through for the Lions, so let's see what they call. Timeout, St. Helens. Evidently Cox saw something he didn't like.
Well, there's a little confusion on the play before on the part of the St. Helens lineman, Joe. Maybe he's seen something he didn't like in his own team and wanted to get a timeout to reaffirm that.
Well, Wes heads out onto the field, and it's a good thing he doesn't have a cattle prod, because I got a feeling. Oh, there's our bucket truck view from the end zone. You're looking about 110 yards away from the action here at about 55 feet in the air. Would like to give out a special thanks tonight to Paul Waddington, who is our buckets operator for this evening. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit between the goalposts.
No, just do it.
I think what you're going to see here, Joe, is fourth in the game. I tell you, there's only 7 minutes left, and it'll be out the top. If Scappoose gets the ball and moves it in distance for St. Helens to come back and score.
Well, it might not just be fourth in the game, Chuck. It might be fourth in the season for both these teams. So you're going to see a lot of tough play down there. Maybe it was a good time to call a timeout and talk this thing over, because this is huge as far as the season goes. White and Goff set in the backfield. Cox under center. 2 receivers to the wide side. Keeper Cox is close. First down, St. Helens.
The ball on the 1-yard line, Joe. It would seem without a fumble that it would be pretty easy for St. Helens to punch the ball in, but they're really using that F word again.
Why did you have to say that, Chuck?
Why?
I don't know if I wouldn't go with about 4 keepers in a row here just to avoid any kind of exchange on the ball. Cox has proved an able runner. Let's see what he does. We're going to show you a great view here. Oh, he drops the ball. And St. Helens is on top of it. That's going to bring up a second and about 5, and they just cannot keep a handle on that pigskin.
I hate to say that word, Joe, but I tell you, it looks like a replay of 2 plays ago, and at this point, you kind of wonder, can the center keep the ball if Jeremy touches it?
Ruski. Well, it's getting pretty tense up here in the booth, and if you're watching at home, I'm sure you feel the same way. We've got both crowds on either side of the field on their feet and watching that end zone very carefully. Not an easy place to view it from. They're going to look for the officials to call this as it goes. Cox under center. On the ball again. It was on the ground, and Goff picked it up and got about 2 yards on the carry, but that thing is... we're about 6 or 7 fumbles now in this game. We've got an injured Lion player.
Paul Liner down for the Lions, Joe, and that's huge because he's a good part of that offensive line. Hopefully it's not anything real bad, but I'll tell you what, Josh Goff's doing a whale of a job picking that ball up and advancing it for St. Helens. It just seems like we can't keep a handle on the ball. Maybe we can get a fresh foul or something.
Well, Liner, a 6 foot, 210-pound senior for the Lions. Been a big part of this game. Taking a look at his knee down there on the field. While we've got a break on the field, we're going to talk about some of our sponsors for tonight's game. Hildreth and Associates Real Estate in Scappoose. Lone Star Northwest. Precision Engraving.
That's big, Joe. That's a big hole you have to fill on the right side of that line, right down as far as you are. I don't know what to do.
Well, I don't think we've seen the last of him for tonight. He's walking on his own power off the field. And I got a feeling he's going to be wanting to be back in this game. There's the keeper up the middle. See if we see a signal. St. Helens is signaling a touchdown. The referee signal. That's it. St. Helens 28. Scappoose 28. And guess what, Chuck? What do you do?
You think Jason Thorson's a little nervous right now?
I think everybody's a little nervous right now. I don't know if we got a number on that score. Might have been Cox on the keeper on that. St. Helens going for the lead. The kick's up. It's good. And we got a 29-28 ball game. 5 minutes, 28 seconds left on the clock. And wow, what a game.
You want to talk about a barn burner here, Joe. I don't think Scappoose is going to sit back and take that without coming out firing.
Well, the Indians will be on the warpath, but first they've got to handle a kick, and the way the ball's been in the last 3 or 4 plays out there, it's going to be very difficult to get a handle on.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. At this point, ball control is utmost importance for the Scappoose Indians, and as you've seen earlier in the game, David Morrell doing an excellent job wrapping his arms around that ball, keeping a hold of it, and hopefully for St. Helens here, we can get a good kickoff and try to pin the Indians deep. And for Scappoose, you hope it's a squibber and one of your upmen can pick it up and advance it.
Well, this is going to be an exciting 5 minutes and 28 seconds, and it's all going to start with that kickoff. While we've got a second here, we want to give a special thanks to U-Haul Truck Rentals, St. Helens New Way Moving and Storage for providing our U-Haul truck for tonight's coverage, and also to Portland General Electric for providing our boom truck in the end zone, which has brought you a view unlike any other CCTV has ever covered. I'd like to thank Paul Waddington, the operator of that boom truck, and Brenton Pyle, his cameraman. Leo Stoddard on the field cam, Debbie Curcilia on the cam up top. Myself, Chuck Giron, Chuck Purvis, JJ Wright, and Todd Hilton bringing you the action tonight for CCTV. Ready for a big kickoff here, Chuck, and Thorson lines up to kick. The kick is off, it's low, it's driving. Picked up by one of the upmen, but it's Gary. He's got a good handle on it. He's got some room, too much room. Lyons got a hold of him right at about the whatever yard line.
Looks to be a 33 or so, Joe, but kind of ran into his own guy with Jake Evelyn and a couple of St. Helens Lions guys there to bring him down. If not, he could have been gone.
Yeah, it's crunch time for both teams in this game. Also like to thank the Wayside Inn for being a sponsor tonight. First and 10 from the 34 for Scappoose. Single setback, Morrill on the carry up the middle. Breaking loose. He's out, and I don't know what happened there, Chuck, but I lost that ball for a couple of yards, and he was out for about a 15-yard sprint.
I did too. I thought he was in that game in the middle, but evidently he squirted out to the outside and picked up some big yardage for Scappoose.
Well, Scappoose is an obviously determined ball team right now. They know that the game is on the line, and they might have, the way they've been moving the ball, maybe the last possession of the game. They've been running a lot of time off this clock the way they've been operating. There's the snap, handoff to Morrill up the middle again, and he's holding on to that ball. A couple of St. Helens defenders in there trying to rip it loose, and no go because Morrill's got both arms clamped around that ball. That's going to bring up a second and about 8, and this game is winding down but getting more exciting by the minute, Chuck.
Yeah, I have to agree, Joe. David learning a valuable lesson in the Astoria game with fumbles, and I think the Scappoose, you just keep handing it off and run the ball up the field. They've been pretty successful so far.
Well, it's a call to arms for the St. Helens defense. Let's see what they can do with Scappoose here. If they can put on a stop, it might be a game winner. Second and about 8. Wayne pulls the team up under center. Morrill set in the backfield. Clayton Gary in the slot. He looks to Gary to the outside. Oh, he's broke loose, and he's got no one on him. One man to beat. Cox brings him down by the face mask. I think we're going to have a face mask penalty on that.
That's Mike Inshaw for the Scappoose Indians, Joe, and I tell you what, that was a desperate tackle from Jeremy Cox for St. Helens Lions, and he might have got a hold of the helmet a little bit.
Well, it may actually have been worth it right there because the way that as slippery as he was out there, they couldn't afford to let him go for a touchdown, but at the same time, you don't need that. What surprised me is I saw Josh Goff chasing him down, and Josh couldn't catch him.
Yeah, Mike is a very quick individual.
This is huge. This is down to that catch and penalty could cost the Lions this game, but still have 4 minutes left on the clock, and tonight we've seen some scores in 10 seconds. That brings it down to the 14-yard line, 1st and 10 Indians. Handoff in the backfield, being stopped for little or no gain. St. Helens a fired up defense right now.
Yeah, you see, Joe, with a couple of Lions raising their hands in the air, they definitely are excited and wanting to get this game over with in a hurry with them leading.
Yeah, there's no more time for butterflies in this game. It's all going to be in the mud, blocking and tackling from here on out. 3 minutes and 34 seconds. We've got a 1-point ball game. St. Helens on top. Both teams trying to climb back into the top ranks of the Quappa League, and only one can do it. Scappoose 2nd and 10, handoff up the middle, no gain again. He's going to bring up a passing situation for Scappoose. Well, can we talk 4th down or can we talk field goal in this area of the ballpark?
Well, you just seen again half of the homeboys for the St. Helens Lions, Joe. Trevor in there for the stop of St. Helens. And tell you what, you want to see a fired up ball club, look at St. Helens. But I tell you, Scappoose is pretty excited on their side too.
I think they better be sticking those receivers right when they come off the line, because you know that Mike Wayne's going to be looking. They're 4 spread across the field. 5-man front, single setback, pass out to the side. Got some running room. Looks like he might have, no, brought down, but he's close to the first down, not the touchdown.
It'll depend on the spot of the ball, Joe. He got quite a bit of yardage on that play.
Couple of good breaks.
They may be calling for the change on this one.
Well, once again, Chuck, they set Gary out to the side, isolated him, and you couldn't have hit him quick enough because Wayne had him the ball the minute it was snapped. Didn't want to give St. Helens any time to get up on the line of scrimmage to stop him, and he's one dangerous receiver with his hands on the ball.
Well, earlier St. Helens had 4th and inches down on their end of the ball field, Joe, and now Scappoose has got 4th and what would seem to be a game or a season that they're in. What do you think?
Well, I think Lions are thinking Scappoose is about due for a fumble. And they're going to be hitting that line about as hard as they've hit it in this whole ball game. I think they'd be willing to give up the touchdown to go for the loss or the sack right here.
Well, you see the St. Helens line definitely getting in like a bunch of sumo wrestlers getting ready for a wrestling match, Joe.
Yeah,
I think you might see Mike Wayne up the middle. What do you think?
This one's going to be in the trenches. And just like we had down at the other end of the field, Mike Wayne for the Indians calls a timeout. And, well, we got a timeout. I want to go back and once again thank the remainder of our sponsors for tonight's game. And those would be Wayside Inn, Longfellow's Inn, and T&G Thriftway. Well, the boys up in the bucket truck are certainly enjoying this set of downs because they've got a bird's eye view. West Bingham trotting back off the field. It's a huge defensive play for the St. Helens Lions and probably the offensive play of the season for the Scappoose Indians. It's going to be won or lost in the trenches. 4th and inches, and we'll bring you the call. Wayne under center. Drew St. Helens offsides. And that's going to carry with it an automatic first down. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and St. Helens pulled that early in the game, and Keith Eads has turned it around and showed him just how it's done again.
You may have used a call that St. Helens used against him earlier in the game, Joe, and just said, hey, try to draw him off line. If you don't, hand it off to Morrell and see if you can get the first. Either way, it's first in the game.
Yeah, too much tension out there on the field, and Lions flinched first. That's going to bring up first down and just about a shoe-in for the Indians without a fumble here. See what the Lions come up with in the way of defense here. Minute and 41 seconds left. There's a handoff. Pyle, there's no touchdown on that. Scappoose is letting the clock wind down with a minute and 30 seconds left, and all they want to do is punch it across and run that clock down, and they've got this ball game in hand. St. Helens needs to come up with a huge play right here.
Yeah, I have to agree, Joe. For St. Helens, everything's on the line right here. You know, it's either you stop the Scappoose Indians or you pick up another loss in the season, which is very, very harmful at this point in time of the season, Joe.
You got to tackle the football now. Second goal from the one, handoff to Morrow. Looks like he's got it, he does. There's the touchdown, 56 seconds left. Scappoose crowd erupts across the field, and Scappoose takes the lead in this game for what might be the last time.
Well, I don't know, Joe. There was sure a late call for that touchdown. It looked like Morrell might have been down and scribbled a little bit after the fact, and enough to get in because the referee on his side did not make the call. It was the ref on the other side.
Well, either way, Chuck, that penalty on the offsides back a couple plays really set this one up. It was a tough one for the Lions, but they're going for 2 points, the Indians. Rolling to the near side, keeper by Wayne, bowls his way in, does not get it. They stop him short. Well, we've said it before, we've seen it before. It's Ronnie White or Josh Goff, and that's the St. Helens' chances in this football game is going to rest on this kickoff return. I'm sure Keith Eads is having a little bit of talk on the sidelines with his kickoff team, and I don't think you're going to see that ball drive very deep on this kickoff.
No, I think you're right, Joe. I think you're going to see a nice dribbler to probably Kyle Murray or one of the up men. You're not going to see him get that ball to Josh. With 56 seconds left, I think the only chance St. Helens stands is a kickoff return. I think Keith's going to take that out of our hands.
Well, once again, we're bringing you the view from our bucket cam high above St. Helens Field over the scoreboard. And wow, what a ball game we've seen here tonight. Switching leads probably 4 or 5 times, 6 or 7 balls on the ground, a few trick plays thrown in, and two teams that desperately want this win. Right now, it looks like the Scappoose Indians are going home with the win, 34-29. St. Helens has got 56 seconds on the clock to pull something out of their bag of tricks. I'm not sure how many timeouts St. Helens has left, Chuck, but they're extremely valuable right now, and I know that on that last scoring drive at the other end of the field, they called 1 or 2. So if they have a timeout, there's probably only one. See the kick. Yeah, no, he kicks it deep. Being pitched back, Ronnie White to Josh Goff around the far side. He cuts, and he's being brought down by the Indian defender, number 34 for the Indians. Let's see if we get a number. Jason Foy, and a heck of an open field tackle on Josh Goff, which is what most people in the state of Oregon have trouble doing. Josh was kind of looking and weaving, trying to find a hole, and I just don't think he saw anything, Chuck.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. Scappoose closed down that wedge real fast, and at this point, I see West with his arms closed. Might be just a little bit nervous at this point, but I think you got to pitch the ball to Josh and see what can happen.
I'd like to see him have Goff throw a halfback pass. That would draw them off and decoy. Oh, Cox being brought down on a sack deep in the St. Helens backfield, and the momentum seems to continue to be going with the Indians. 36 seconds to go. St. Helens calling a timeout, and I think it's its last timeout, Chuck. And we're just about to the end of this ball game.
I think, as you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, maybe not in your picture yet, but Stevie Dubois is definitely telling West Bingham, hey, Coach, there's something to be had if you can just bring somebody in the flat out there, because Stevie was wide open at the last play, but how can you get the ball to him when you're pressured like that?
Yeah, it's hard to question West with the kind of record he's got, but I'm not so sure I would have had Cox dropping back on that. I think that was pretty much expected. I think at this point in the game, you've got to throw something at him that they haven't seen yet, and I think it has to involve Ronnie White or Josh Goff.
Josh tried the halfback pass just before halftime, you see, and it failed. And I guarantee the ball isn't any more stickier than it was then, Joe. And I don't know. West has obviously hopefully got something, as you see the camera fanning around to the audience.
We're zooming in on the Scappoose crowd across the far side of the field. Really getting some excellent shots from the bucket truck tonight. Really want to thank our bucket truck operator, Paul Waddington, for coming down here and doing the dirty deed, but he's enjoying one heck of a game from up there, along with Brenton Pyle bringing you the action. Jeremy Cox drops back, and he's being dropped down. Fumble on the play.
Again, Joe, it looks like Kyle Murray from the Lions might have fallen on that one to pick that up, as he did. Well, Kyle with sure hands.
Maybe they ought to have him run the ball.
Something, Joe, they'll tell you with 18 seconds in running, St. Helens has got to do something to spike the ball and get a play going here.
Yeah, a little too much confusion on St. Helens' part. And he spikes the ball.
9 seconds, one more play.
And that was 9 seconds left in this game. Scappoose leading 34-29 over the Lions in a home game for St. Helens. And this has got to do something to both propel the Scappoose Indians back toward the top of the Coapa League and put St. Helens in a heck of a predicament this season if they even want to return to the state playoffs.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. At this point, there's a little desperation on St. Helens' part to try to get something pulled out here. But there was a name you brought up earlier, Jason Thorson. I think the Lions may be trying to go to him here deep to get something going.
You know, this is going to leave St. Helens hoping that Scappoose beats Claskenai. The Indians could do the Lions a favor later down the road. Pitch back to Goff. He's got some room. He's got a roll. He's got some running room. He's on his feet. Oh, being tripped up. And the fumble on the play of this game is over. Scappoose 34, St. Helens 29. Well, once again, come to the end of a heck of a well-fought Civil War game. Both teams playing their hearts out, Chuck. Scappoose coming to play here at St. Helens and taking the victory home with them. That will make them 3-1 in the Coapa League and drop St. Helens to 2-2. And St. Helens fans have not seen a 2-2 Lions club in the Coapa League for quite a while.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. I tell you what, there's a lot of guts laying on that field right now. And for the Scappoose Indians, they've done one whale of a job coming down to St. Helens and beating the Lions on their home turf.
Yeah, you can't give them enough credit. And they probably have the best balanced team we've seen out of Scappoose in several years. And maybe fortunes are reversed this season. Maybe we're looking at the next state champions out there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Joe. I tell you, there was nothing left on that field tonight. Everything everybody had was left out there.
Well, it makes it that much more interesting, Chuck, on down the line to see the Claskenai Tigers. They're coming to St. Helens and they're coming to Scappoose both in the second half of the season. They have to play the Lions and the Indians on their respective home fields. And from what we hear, Claskenai is one tough team to deal with. I know they've been building their program down there, but like I said a little earlier, we might actually see a situation where if St. Helens wants to get in the playoffs, they may well be depending on this Scappoose team to help them get there.
Well, even if they do, Joe, as you know, the third place team in the Coapa League will be the one on the road. So even if we get there, we may be road weary, but you're right, Joe. I mean, Scappoose may have to do us a favor here to get us into the playoffs, but you know, you got to have your hats off to Scappoose, Joe. I mean, they go to the quarterfinals last year. They traveled to Ontario. You know, on paper it looks like they beat Ontario. If it's not for, you know, the flu, I think we may be in face of Scappoose in the state championship. I mean, who knows? But I tell you what, you've got to take your hats off to those guys in the white shirts across the way.
Yeah, you know, we came into this game and we thought that Morrill was really going to do the damage to the Lions. He was consistent up the middle. Clayton Gary all over the field, actually more on defense than on offense. But I think what's impressed me the most in this game is the poise and confidence that Mike Wayne is showing at quarterback for the Indians. Coming in this season, never having been a starter before, following Rob Broberg up the line. He's just really put it all together for the Indians, and he's glued their all-hands team between Clayton Gary and Morrill. He's rounded out that triumvirate that might get him to the playoffs.
Well, and this is about the same time last year that Scappoose started really gelling, Joe, and coming together. And you know, at this point, with them being 2-1, boy, you got to be looking good here.
Well, I know this has got to be depressing for Coach Bingham. I think that he had really hoped to get this win under his belt tonight and propel himself toward the end of the season. It really would have done the Lions some good in their confidence game, but it just didn't happen. It came close, but just didn't happen. Probably what hurt the Lions more than anything was that long stretch between halftime and the middle of the fourth quarter where nobody scored. And in a game where we saw scores every 10 seconds in the first half, it just didn't play out that way in the second half for the Lions.
Well, and I think both coaches did a fine job in the halftime, Joe. You know, changing up their plays to accommodate what the other team had done.
Oh, I guess they got the camera on us up here. Look at that ugly guy with the beard. Jeez, get that shaved.
Well, we've been all over the field tonight. We've got cameras everywhere. Down on the field, up here in the booth, Chuck, myself, and Debbie bringing you the broadcast from up here. You've seen some great shots from I guess we'll call it the PGE Skycam down at the end of the field. Brenton Pyle and Paul Waddington bringing you the coverage down there. Down below us, we've got Chuck Purvis, Leo Stoddard on field cam, JJ Wright, Dennis Stoddard, excuse me. Leo plays. Dennis Stoddard, J.J. Wright, and Todd Hilton down below us in the van bringing you the action. And Chuck, I guess it's time to wrap it up, and we see one pretty sad Lion team out there, and it's kind of it's not the end of the season, but it sure puts a dim light on the playoffs for the Lions. But we'll be back, and we'll bring you the next game here from the stadium, and that'll be on the 31st, which will be the Clascanai Tigers visiting the Lions in their homecoming.
Yeah, Joe, you know, I tell you, St. Helens might have their heads down right now, but you got to be excited because not one co-op team's in top 10 rated in state. But I think you're going to see a couple co-op teams go pretty deep into the playoffs by the looks of things. I tell you, Scappoose is awful tough, Joe.
Well, the co-op league just might be so tough that they're not getting any respect because it's such a balance. Anyway, we're going to leave you here tonight. It's been a great game. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. So for Chuck Duran and myself, Joe Corsilia, and from the view we've got for you from the bucket cam deep in the end zone, good night, everybody.